from some family name.
Yeah. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first broadcast. The first broadcast of a new series called A Year in Time. Now, I have several different things I follow, and one of them is certain players that I like. A lot less nowadays, as most players are assholes, but we're going to be doing 1988. And because that was the first year I really started paying attention to sports. Part of 1988 was one of my favorite players of all time, Andre Reed. And that's what this series will focus on first, will be Andre Reed and his season. Well, John is currently doing Sack to the Future. Let me just quickly get this game started as we go about telling you about Andre Reed's season in 1988. Week 1 against the Minnesota Vikings. And this is what we're attempting to match. Andre Reed had 1 rush for -1 yard, 8 catches for 78 yards, and a long of 30. And that is all that is recorded. So that is what he has attempted to match or better.
Hey now, try not to suck.
I'm offended.
For about what?
Hey now, try not to suck.
I am using Madden 20 and a 1988 roster created by I Teach History 78. If there are any problems with it, I will try and catch them and fix it, but it's a pretty solid roster regardless, so. Using Sack to the Future rules as far as length of game and all that. Hopefully it doesn't go on too long since it's exhibition. But in 1988, Week 1, Buffalo hosted Minnesota at the beginning of the season and beat them 13-10.
Courtney made a mistake. She left a bag of Kit Kat Minis nearby.
Uh-oh. There's Bruce Smith. Of course, we're not focusing on him this year. I will come back and do the Bills another time at another point. None of this stuff will count toward that. This is just for Andre Reed's, basically. If I could figure out, Ray Bentley did have long hair. If we could figure out a way to just present the game from his perspective, then I will. But Norwood will kick off.
Bricks 34. That's a very weird ass uniform, though.
Which, the Steelers? Yeah. Actually, that shoulder color kind of became popular in the early 2000s. The Tennessee Titans, of course, and the Buffalo Bills also had stuff like that. It's very ugly, in my opinion.
I just don't like the style.
No. Thankfully, they only went with it for a couple of years.
Real Housewives of Illegal Calendar.
Oh, jeez. Why would you want to watch that?
It's just a meme photo of,
Uh-huh.
Unless I knew Wiggletown really didn't exist. It's just a nickname for an area.
It is.
Got a nice gun shop.
Don't forget the Wiggletown Walmart, too.
Yeah. Which is just down the road from there, that little bunch.
Wilson completes a deep pass for the first down to Steve Jordan.
Hold on to it, Hilton. There we go. Going to be short for the first down, but 4th and 1. So.
Hey, Google. Broadcast.
Google said,
okay, broadcasting.
What the fuck? Technology. So this is the last game of Week 1. No, and Minnesota gets a touchdown right off the bat. Anthony Carter. I really want to watch the...
I hear. Broadcast.
I wish you could present the game like you can on the regular season, where it's just from the perspective of the one player. So I'm not having to see all this. Or be able to have custom schedules in a season so that I could actually set this shit up.
Right.
There we go. It finally paused. Alright, can I exit settings?
Oh, he couldn't pull that.
No, it doesn't say. So I think that's.
Menu narration option is set to
I think that's the worst thing about game controls. Can I? Nope, that's not.
Is your Google? Why can't these guys hold on to the ball? I'm 38 yards out. I ain't going for that right there.
No, that wasn't my Google. That was Phantom says, who wants to guess the number of players we need to name and address after this game? Well, we're under at 38. She could skip all this crap in between.
I just want to say I need to buy a box of Cadbury eggs because, yeah.
Do your hair.
Yeah. It's cracking.
A short kickoff taken by the return man for Buffalo. I want 39. I have names listed at all times. Jamie Mueller is returning a kick. There's Jim Kelly showboating, showing off to himself because that's what he did.
The Gorilla Glue lady.
Uh-huh.
Going to try to sue Gorilla Glue.
For what?
Because the warning doesn't explicitly say do not put in hair.
Oh. I see.
Granted, any reasonable individual that would have read that or even knows what super glue is would not put super glue in their fucking hair.
Right.
Because you're stupid if you do.
Americans are very disappointing.
Yeah.
So we may actually, in fact, end up seeing this game in this series about, let's see, Thurman Thomas, Jim Kelly, Bruce Smith, Andre Reed. 8 or 9 times. Maybe I should have just put everything together and did the whole year from start to finish instead of breaking. But I just felt that it'd be too random. And too long. I mean, first of all, football don't start till September, so. Andre Reed is in his 4th season out of Kutztown in '88.
Probably one of the best, if not the best, receiver in the world.
Well, I would say he's the best all time. I mean, as far as all time, obviously Albert DeBenion. Nowadays, Stephon Diggs, Ahmad Rashad. Let's see, Marlon Briscoe.
Weird, like you sit there and think back, like when they drafted people like Sammy Watkins, you're like, this guy could be like a new franchise receiver, setting records and shit. In what? 2 years? 1 year? I forget.
I don't know. He ended up getting traded to the Rams. He used his trade bait, and now he's on the Chiefs. So that pass is complete to Metzelars. The Bills in 1988 played the NFC North. I do not believe they played the Buccaneers, though. I think they were in the 5th place schedule. Hey, Rick Tootin will have to punt. So no completions to Andre Reed on that first drive. And remember, the goal is to equal or beat what he actually did against Minnesota. So we don't necessarily care about the score. I mean, yes, we'd like to see him go at least to the AFC Divisional because that's how far, or Championship because that's how far Buffalo went that year. But I, again, state that in Week 1, Reed had 1 rush, -1 yard, 8 catches, 78 yards. He's yet to have a catch. And since the purpose of this is the player, I will keep his stats. In any years I do a team, all-time Giants receivers, Phantom wants to know. We'll let John talk about that. Yeah, we'll let you mention that first since you're the Giants fan.
Amani Toomer?
Amani Toomer, okay. He's not a Toomer. The well-dressed Amani Toomer. Are we counting tight ends?
Well, I would still consider them a receiver.
Well, they are, but so are running backs out of the backfield. But he specifically said receivers, not pass catchers.
Right. There we go. Although he caught a lot of pass first season.
Yeah. He had better hands than a lot of receivers did.
He did. He was really good. That guy was extremely underrated.
So who's that? Gary Ballman did not score. Who scored? Simmons?
Simmons. Yeah, Simmons, yep.
Bill Nelson to Simmons. I would have to bring up... you know, I'm not a huge Giants fan, obviously, but I have seen quite a bit of their work. I mean, Amani Toomer's definitely got to be in the list. Just out of longevity. I mean, you could bring up Plaxico Burress, although I knew him for other reasons. You could bring up guys like Victor Cruz, but Cruz couldn't stay out of the injury list.
OBJ even had potential, but he was too much of a fucking diva.
Yeah. Frank Gifford's got to be on that list.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not only just his utility in general.
Another one I personally liked, but he wasn't a household name, was Phil McConkey. I also have a soft spot for Lionel Manuel because I share a birthday with him, although just a couple years apart, like 13, 14 years apart. But still, Lionel Manuel is one of my favorites just because of the whole April 13th connection. So Buffalo's able to force a punt on this drive. Now, Reed is not a punt returner in 88. He was in 85, so we won't have to worry about that so much. And I chose to sim this just because I like simming stuff. Plus I thought if I was playing it, I might try too hard to make sure that Reed beat the stats.
That was an interesting sack. My defense is starting to kick up.
Andy Russell. Fair catch is called for by number 80 on the Bills. Who is that in 1988? Flip Johnson. Never heard of him. Rookie, though. Rookie out of McNeese State. Flip Johnson. Alright, so the big question is now, is Ken Andre Reed get a pass? Homer Jones. Phantom wants to ask about, does Homer Jones make it?
Homer Jones.
Number 45 currently for Insactive Future.
Well, he was responsible for
the spike.
Spike.
Yep. Which we can't do in Madden 21.
No, which is nice.
It's really stupid. Thurman Thomas on the ball carrier there. We'll do another season one day with Thurman Thomas as the focal point. My plan is to focus on 88, but I may not. I may move around.
For the time, you got to give him credit because Homer Jones, for his career, was just under 5,000 yards receiving. And back in the 60s and early 70s and shit, that was a lot for a season. So I would probably have to say yeah. Just because of that. mostly a running game back then.
Right. Of course, the duo from Super Bowl 25, at least be talked about, Stephen Baker and Mark Ingram.
Yeah.
I don't know how long they were there, but they definitely made waves that season.
Well, Mark Ingram was another one that kind of stuck out to me too. And he was, gosh, didn't he have a son or whatever?
Yep.
Into the league?
Played for Baltimore. Where is he currently? I think he played for New Orleans and Baltimore, but I'm not sure if he's with either now. Let me look him up right now.
Oh wait, his son was a running back though, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark Ingram, he played for Baltimore this past season, so.
Right.
Heisman Trophy winner at Alabama.
Let's see. What was his years? He was
The original
retired.
Mark Ingram?
Yeah, the senior, I guess. He retired in the 90s, didn't he?
96. He played from 87 to 96. He was a Giant till 92, a Dolphin 93, 94, a Packer 95, and an Eagle in 96. A couple other things about this game, the Bills and Vikings. Tim Ryan and Dan Jiggets had the call for CBS. And the weather in Orchard Park that day was 74 degrees, or a high of 75, sorry, with wind gusts of up to 19.68 miles an hour, with a high of 27 miles an hour. So a windy day in Orchard Park in September 4th, 1988. I was in 4th grade. Actually,
98?
88. Wouldn't have started. Yeah, I said 98, but it was 88. It wouldn't have started 4th grade yet, so because Labor Day would have been the 5th, so I was a couple days away from starting 4th grade.
Hakeem Nicks had a lot of potential.
Oh yeah, there's another name.
He got. I think he got shorted due to injury big time. But he had a lot of potential.
Wade Wilson's going deep and it's intercepted.
Steve Smith at slot receiver.
Nate Odoms.
That guy practically rewrote that position. And I don't think he got enough credit for it.
Of course, Del Schaffner back in the late 50s, early 60s is another one.
Schaff, yeah. Ike Hilliard was another one. I think he
Phantom says, I get it. Most the Bears' best receivers are from way back. 5,000 back then was like 10 today.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I said earlier about what's his name there? Homer Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 4,900
Well, that's
yards.
when you're comparing receivers, you have to take into account the change in the league too. I hear guys all the time say this guy doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame because he didn't do anything. And Drew Pearson, that argument came up a lot this week by a lot of idiots that don't understand how football worked in the 70s, claiming that Drew Pearson didn't belong in the Hall of Fame. I'm no Cowboys fan. In fact, I'm a Cowboys hater. But Drew Pearson belongs in the Hall of Fame. And for anybody to say because he didn't have the numbers doesn't understand football in the 70s.
Right. Yep.
If Drew Pearson played today, he'd have the same numbers of guys like Stephon Diggs and all that, because he was the go-to receiver for Roger Staubach.
Yeah. Joe Morrison definitely, I think, would be another one to think of. Oh, Christ. Throw the ball. Terrible throw, but whatever.
Steelers, now, they really didn't have much in line for great receivers until Swan and Stallworth. I mean, on this team you got here Gary Ballman. There's a pass to Metzelaar. Still nothing to Reed yet. Kelly is 3 for 3, but he's yet to find Andre Reed. Of course, Reed did not have a touchdown in this game, so we're not really looking for that. We just 8 receptions and 78 yards, so 9-minute quarters doesn't give you as much time. Would be nice for the Bills to win too, considering they originally won. One thing I'll do with this kind of simulations is I will keep the season going. If the say I'm doing randomly Vinny Testaverde for the '88 Buccaneers. Bucks didn't make the playoffs, but if these Sims, he gets on fire and starts winning games and makes it in the playoff, I'll do the playoff. It don't matter. Just see how Testaverde's season holds out. But there's Shane Conlon having a discussion of some type with
another receiver for the Giants that we haven't gotten to yet because he's a 90s player and he was drafted to the Steelers was Chris Callaway.
And the Heidi Hey man, as Chris Berman used to call him. And the game, of course, taken from the original Heidi Hey man, Cab Calloway. Wade Wilson is 7 of 802 yards. Let's see what he did in the original game. Wade Wilson was 19 of 33 for 204 yards in the original game, so he's well ahead of that pace. This series will replace the history of sport that I really wasn't doing anyway because it was too far back and kind of boring. Not that I'm expecting views anyway. I've given up on that. I actually get a lot more views on my stupid little TikTok things. Which is almost embarrassing. To think, first of all, I did 3 videos. Well, no, actually, it isn't. It gets a lot of bad. It gets a lot of bad press because President Trump was against it. But there is another side of TikTok. There's a very huge vocal pro law enforcement side and pro conservative.
Oh, well, yeah, I've seen a lot of those little things pop up for those guys.
Yep. But I did 3.
Was that it was Chinese owned or whatever.
Yeah, so what? If you store stuff on your phone, that's when you should be worried. I don't. I do everything on my computer, and I don't TikTok on my. I don't do the Tickamatalks. Anyway, I did 3.
You see 4,300 yards.
I did 3 TikTok videos in the recent 3-4 days. One of which was a tribute memorial to an officer who lost his life in a car accident on Sunday. One was a duet with this girl who basically made a video of saying how hot you are so that you duet it and you're supposed to do, yeah.
That's great.
And then one video simply of me asking my Google what a Mondo Duke is. Can you guess which one has the least amount of views out of those 3? The tribute to the cop has the fewest views. It is a sad description of America in 2021.
See, you know what? I'm sitting here looking at the top 10 historical receivers for the Giants, and they come in at Monty Toomer at number 1. You guess who number 2 was?
OBJ.
No, we didn't get to actually use him because he was... Well, actually, no, I take that back. We did get to use him for the first 2 years in our Sack of the Future. He was done in after 61.
Who's that?
Kyle Rote.
Oh, yeah.
He had
Here,
700 receiving yards.
we're in the second quarter now, and Andre Reed is still yet to catch a pass in this game. Here is a look right now at those 3 videos and how many views I have. The duet with the young female, 482 views. The video of my Google, 363 views, and that one is less than 24 hours old. The video tribute to the falling officer, 16 views. Now, a lot of that is I only have 24 followers, so if you're on your For You page, I forgot to put the hashtag FYP or For You on the officer, so it's not going to pop up in anybody's For Yous. But if so, you would have to actually physically either search for the original officer who made the video, which was the girl cop, or be one of my followers. So part of that's my fault. I need to learn the specifics on how to Tickamatalk, because I'm used to creating YouTube stuff.
A gap from 68 to 83 where they had no 1,000-yard receivers,
which is pretty consistent with the fact that we have not even mentioned any receivers from the 70s.
Right.
Because I don't honestly think I've seen much games. I have a few, 75 against Buffalo, 77 against the Bears, They've got a game against the Bengals that I have. Oh, Andre Reed is hurt. Andre Reed is hurt, and I wonder how this is going to work in preseason. What I'll do is if they announce what the injury is and it's a several-week injury, I won't simulate those games because there will be no point. And if he's out of this game, we'll just end the simulation now and move on. So we got to wait to see if they announce it. I got to pay attention now.
And then
they were playing with his shoulder, so
there's another little gap. And that went from Lionel Emanuel.
Lionel Emanuel.
99, yeah. Montezuma 99. So they went 11 years without a 1,000-yard receiver, getting into the passing era.
My pass is complete. Jim Kelly is 4 for 4. I wonder if Reed caught a pass or if he was injured off ball. I happened to be looking down at your game at the time. But obviously, if his day is done, that is going to finish up the stats, and he will come in under. And if he's out for multiple weeks, because he did not get hurt. He played in 15 out of 16 games in '88, so Kelly goes down sacked by Scott Studwell. One of the good things about this era of football, though, is I really don't need rosters for the stars.
Apparently the Giants have not had 1,000-yard receiver since 2018.
Yeah,
which, I mean, that would make some sense.
I can't skip replays in exhibition mode. And something EA Sports, it's like they have a different team work on exhibition games from franchise mode games. Thurman Thomas has 8 carries, 12 yards.
I can't really disagree much with this list that was put up by Sports Illustrated. They did a pretty decent job, I think.
Meanwhile, the Bills trail the Vikings 7-0. The Steelers lead the Bengals 14-7, depending on what channel you're on. Nobody's on mine, so. Almost intercepted. Kelly threw it right to the Viking linebacker. Still no update on Reed. What we might do at the end of this drive is pause the game and see.
Just to share with Mark. I'm actually going to watch that video. We're going to accept that, yes.
I had a video I watched the other day, the 100 best plays in postseason history, and ironically, the Scott Norwood miss was not on there.
Really?
Yep.
That's weird.
They had the game-winning field goals from the Super Bowls, the 2 Adam Vinatieri's and the Jimmy O'Brien. They also had the game winner in the Tuck Rule game. And the one that put it in overtime, so they had 2 kicks from that game, but the Norwood miss was not in there. What they also didn't have, the Vikings miss field goal against the Seahawks, the chip shot. So maybe they just didn't go with failure. Maybe that'll be in a different video.
Because I forget which Super Bowl it was, but it was early 2000s, I believe, where it was decided by a field goal or whatever, right?
Yeah, there were a couple.
Right, and I guess during the game, the announcers said this was like the first Super Bowl that was decided by a field goal. And my father was like, no, it wasn't, because Scott Norwood miss was arguably a decision by a field goal.
Well, not only that, but the Colts and Cowboys in 1970 was a game-winning kick by Jim O'Brien.
Right.
So they won 16-13. So obviously those announcers didn't know what they're talking about. But that's like the other thing that's going on currently. Everybody is showing... Here we go. Let's see if I can get an injury update. Medical center you can't get into. Depth chart I can't look at because I'm simulating the game. Controller select. Maybe I can get into it now. No, I still can't change. Oh, maybe I have to go out and back in. No, still can't do either. Alright, well, this is just look to see if Reed is back out there. Tom Brady winning a 7th ring. Okay. All kinds of memes put out comparing him to Robert Horry, who also won 7 championships in basketball with multiple teams as a role player. A couple things about that. They're being presented as the most championships. Most of a modern era because Otto Graham had 7. Bill Russell had 11, and Yogi Berra had 10.
Yeah.
And those are all guys back in the 50s and 60s, so that is a modern era crap. The other thing is Robert Horry comes out with an interview claiming that he should be getting more respect in this conversation because he played his role perfectly. And nobody disagrees with him. But at the same time, he's got to understand that nobody would be talking about him right now if it weren't for the fact that that Brady just won his 7th. If Brady wins his 8th, they wouldn't bring up Robert Horry. And nobody should be talking about him because 7 is not the gold standard. It's 11 and Bill Russell. Because they're comparing sports, football to basketball, so you got to talk Bill Russell. You also got to bring up Yogi Berra. Art Still sacks Wade Wilson. They were working on Reed's shoulders, so that leads me to believe he's probably done. Wade Wilson is 10 of 12. Wade Wilson also is the name of the character Deadpool. Something tells me they're not the same guy.
No, I don't believe so. Bengals are going no huddle to try and score before the half. Defense can't tackle all of a sudden.
Wilson finds Carter, and Carter's immediately tackled by Davis. Since we're watching the Steelers, Phantom would like to ask you for your top list of Steelers linebackers, but that would take too long.
Yeah.
Well, Andy Russell in this game has got to be in that conversation.
Oh. Ugly catch.
And I'm sure John would definitely miss, at this point, Myron Patios.
Oh, God.
Since he's no longer on the team. But seriously,
he really should be considered a linebacker, but wasn't a linebacker. Fucking the hair.
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, that guy did more linebacker stuff than linebackers.
Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Greg Lloyd. Just to list a few.
He caught that inbounds, I thought, but I mean, if he didn't, I'm not going to complain.
So, is Reed in the game? Kelly is under center. That pass is complete. I can't see the number. Looks like 88.
And the Bengals tie it up with 51 seconds left in half. After an Asbury fumble, which he should have recovered himself, but apparently he got up and ran away from the ball. And then somebody kicked it to the fucking defender.
You will notice Saul's name is spaced out too, because that's offensive.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm trying to figure out how.
Alright, Andre Reed is in a huddle, so that answers that question. Kelly misfires, almost intercepted again. This was a low-scoring game in reality, 13-10. Bills won, so.
That interception, that gives the Bengals a short field.
Andre Reed on the reception. He's in the Viking territory.
Ball's on the ground before the quarterback was.
Oh, they're about to give Reed's totals, and they go to the replay. Reed sitting down in the zone, just inside the 50.
There's a fumble, but they still recover it. Timeout. I pushed it before the thing, but the Bengals with 13 seconds left.
Kelly gonna look to throw. Reed again. That is his second reception in a row.
Got the clock going. And we've reached halftime with a score of 14-0.
Okay, there you go. Kelly gives it to Thomas. Thomas picks up 3. He's got 9 carries for 14 yards. And in reality that day, he had 18 carries for 86 yards. So he's just, thankfully we're not doing his season right now. Reed is in the slot by the looks of it. Kelly finds Metzlars and is going to have a first down in the red zone. Andre Reed would go on to play until the year 2000 with Washington.
That was weird when I saw that.
Now, I had to look at the log and why he did not play, what game he missed in '88. Oh, he missed the Week 16 game. So one could then assume, I will look up just to make sure that it was a case of the game was meaningless since they went 12-4 in '88.
Wasn't that the beginning of their 4-year stretch?
Nope, that was 90.
So was that a resting game?
Well, it probably was. They were 12-4.
Yeah.
And probably had no reason to try. Well, yeah, they came in the game at 12-3 and would lose to the Colts 17-14. They're actually 11-1 at one point, and then finished 1-3 in the season, losing at Cincinnati, at Tampa Bay, beating the Raiders, and losing at Indianapolis. Kelly throws as he's hit. It's a completed pass to Thomas, and Thomas gets the first down, and we're going to have a timeout called.
Uh-oh. The Bengals break one for a big run. 74 yards.
So the way we'll handle that is if we get to week 16, because there was only 16 back then, the Bills kick the field goal from Norwood, and there's no reason to play for Reed to play in that game. We'll go by Marv Levy's standards. If the Bills can't move in, if they're in the playoffs. If they're not in the playoffs, I would think they would play. I don't see Levy sitting the players if they're out of the playoffs. In fact, he never did. In the couples in '94, for instance, everybody played when they missed the playoffs. Let's see how the original game went while we're here. Buffalo led 10-0 after 1 and 10-3 at the half. So right now this is definitely reverse of that. With the Vikings leading 7-3 with 1:19 to go in the first half. I could be on later tonight. Oh no, I can't. I'm going to have surgery tomorrow.
You're getting your Superman powers implanted.
Yep. Oh no. Anthony Carter's gone for a 70-yard touchdown.
So you see this whole nonsense about the Tampa Bay mayor?
Yeah.
Is that the maskless fans were going to be identified by the camera and all that stuff?
And prosecuted. What can you? What actually could you prosecute them for? There's no law. Yeah, there's no law in the books. A mandate can be challenged in court.
Yeah, and it's not a law.
Laws can be
And
challenged
also,
too, but it has to go through the Supreme Court in that case, or well, the Supreme Court of the governing body, which a mask mandate in Tampa Bay would be the district court.
You want to know who else was identified by video?
Tom Brady.
Not wearing a mask?
Tom Brady.
Oh, she was.
Oh, well, good.
The mayor wasn't wearing a mask at the game either. So.
Yeah, it's like when I did my video wearing my luchador mask in the Stewarts, and I closely showed on the video that it said it was a law, and I pointed out that it's not a law. Within a week, that sign was changed to mandate.
Health Department of Health mandate. Yeah.
Yep.
They do not have the strength of law.
Nope.
They have the strength of store policy. They don't have to provide you service.
I think that's actually what they. I think that's actually what they put up as store policy. But I've seen people walk in without masks on, and there isn't an employee in there that is going to say anything. Not in the Stewarts in my town.
I don't know. Stewart's over here. You walk in without a mask. Sir, you got a mask? We'll give you one. God damn.
I ain't taking your mask. That's what I'd be like. I ain't taking your mask. How do I know where it's been? Well, that's like the discussion we had yesterday's episode about the fireworks being canceled and all over it. And it's just ridiculous because.
Never else. I mean, they just select field goal, but it's 3 points.
So Reed has at least 2 receptions in this game. I think they need to get him the ball a little bit more. I alphabetized everything by first name, so that's why Andre Reed came up first. Andre the Giant is actually second. If I do 88, there'd be some interesting matches. I might not. I don't know.
Andre playing football in the NFL.
Oh well, he was in a movie where he played a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be. Oh, if he had been born in America, he probably would have.
Yeah.
Being born in the French Alps, it wasn't a thing. Kelly is in the shotgun. There's 1:01 left, and they're sending Thomas out into split out, and he's wide open. Nobody's covering him, and Kelly's going to him. And if he's got the speed, he's gone. Thurman Thomas from 70 yards. Wow. I cannot actually believe I just saw that in the simulation. No Viking followed him into coverage. Not a single one. In fact, 44, who is John Harris, ends up chasing, but he just does not have the speed to meet the rookie out of Oklahoma State, Andre Reed. Shoot. Any quarterback can make that completion. Maybe not in Sack the Future 1966, but definitely Jim Kelly could hit that.
We're gonna squeeze block and see if we can't get this.
And there, Millard and Studwell.
Since 19.
Not exactly sure why Millard and Studwell are arguing, considering that the extra point's good. Neither of them broke coverage. I mean, one's a defensive lineman, the other's a linebacker. Although I guess technically Scott Studwell, yeah, because now John Baker's yelling at Studwell might supposed to have followed Thomas out of the backfield, but nobody could expect Scott Studwell to stay with Herman Thomas in a foot race. That's like I remember one time in modified football getting yelled at because I was playing defensive end and my job was to contain, was to set up a containment. And they ran the ball off tackle inside of me and got a touchdown. This was against Plattsburgh. And somebody was trying to yell at me for not making the tackle, and I was being blocked, but he did not get outside of me. So I said, I did my job, do yours. Interior linemen and linebackers are we're in a 6-2, so that you should not be able to run off tackle in that formation. First of all, you have 6 down linemen to 5 blockers. Then you have 2 linebackers. I mean, the minute you read run, of course, I mean, granted, it's 8th grade modified football, so it's not like they're pros out there, but still, you have 8 men going up against 5 blockers. If there's a lead blocker, it was 6. Wilson's going past. I can remember another time getting, of course, people on field love to blame other people, you know. Nobody, it's never anybody's fault until the video comes out. Why would you say speaking of Jim Kelly and then talk about overrating?
I would say
Kelly's not overrated. Kelly's not overrated. Quarterbacks in history, that's a lot to digest right there. Interception, Wilson to Derek Burrows. I don't know, because if a quarterback's overrated in the long run, he's going to weed himself out. For instance, Sean King from Tampa Bay. Come out in his rookie year, led the Buccaneers to the NFC Championship, second year to the NFC wildcard, and Sean King weeded himself out and would never be in a discussion of being overrated.
What about Ryan Leaf?
No, I don't even think you can overrate him. He was overrated coming out of college, that's for sure. But he weeded himself out. Oh, same thing. Overrated coming out of college. ESPN still has him. If he were to sign up to go play in a flag football league, we would get highlights on SportsCenter. Oh, top 3 overrated Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Right off the bat, I can piss off a lot of people by saying Joe Namath is the most overrated quarterback in the Hall of Fame. He is the only starting quarterback in the Hall of Fame with a losing record, and he is only in the Hall of Fame because of something that came out of his mouth.
Yeah.
Joe Namath. After that, I don't know. That one gets harder because I can think of quarterbacks who belong in the Hall of Fame that aren't. Like a Doug Williams. Guys in that are not as good as Kenny Anderson. Well, that's a good one too, because Kenny Anderson's definitely better than a guy like Boomer Esiason. The shock and awe. I said Boomer wasn't as good as Kenny Anderson. Bengal fans are gonna riot.
Oh.
Boomer's overrated. How about that? And the field goal by Norwood cuts the Viking lead to 14-13, so currently the Bills have scored the same amount of points that they did in the original game. Their defense has given up 4 more.
Oh. Gosh, 4th and 5 at the 11.
In the third, we've still got 9 minutes to go. 9-minute quarters might be too much on this stimulation because we're at 50 minutes and still in the first half. Let me just end this broadcast when John's done his and delete this video and come back with a shorter game. Nobody's watched it anyway, so.
Shitty kick. Super shitty kick. We'll end the third quarter at 21-20. Bengals over Steelers.
What did I simulate the alternate Super Bowls at?
I don't know.
Originally, back when I did them as exhibitions, they would be the better. Because they're about an hour long. And that's really what you're looking for. Nobody's going to want to sit here and watch a 2-hour game. I gotta poop. That's another reason why I might want to end this. Alright. Alternate Super Bowl 2 was... This isn't mine. Somebody else did them. With modern rosters, so that's not an alternate Super Bowl. He did the real teams with modern rosters. That's not alternate Super Bowl at all. Stupid. How come my playlist doesn't show up? Maybe I changed it to alternate series? Halftime, Vikings lead 14-13, and I'm going to stop this here. I'm going to delete this, come back with a shorter game. Thanks for watching. Too bad of that. Well, I might leave this as just a trial, because that life's long past it.